Got a bit of breaking news here on Chicago Bears now. This coming down in the last hour or so. Bobby Massie, the starting right tackle for the Bears, is set to miss a month. I am your host, Harrison Graham, breaking this one down for you guys. Of course, he left that Week 8 matchup against the Saints early on in the first quarter. He's going to miss a month with a knee injury. Obviously, could have been a lot worse. Not a torn ACL or anything like that, but just more offensive line issues, right? For a group that has had major struggles and now has a considerable amount of injuries to its starting 5 offensive line. This is troubling for the Chicago Bears, who are trying to get back on the winning track. You look at the next 5 weeks for the Bears: at Tennessee versus Minnesota, then the bye week. Maybe he's able to return and only miss those 2 games and play Week 12 at the Packers, but barring a significant change in status, he will miss at least the next 2 games and perhaps even that Packers game as well. And you want to be as close to full strength when you play Green Bay in Week 12. This is not great news for the Chicago Bears now that Bobby Massie is set to be sidelined for up to a month. What is your one-word reaction to Bobby Massie's injury? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. Typical, frustrating. I think those words certainly work. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Maybe your word is Spriggs, because Jason Spriggs is set to be your right tackle. We'll talk about him more in just a sec. But look at this offensive line. James Daniels is out for the year. Cody Whitehair still dealing with the calf injury. An update on him later on in the show. Rashad Coward has stunk. Charles Leno's not any good. Jermaine Ifedi's been up and down. Like, this offensive line has enough issues as it is. To lose another starter, that is a bad situation for the Chicago Bears, as Bobby Massie is set to miss again about a month. He's allowed 3 sacks this year. He has not been great by any means, but you don't want to lose a starter, and Bobby Massie is a starter for the Chicago Bears. Now, grade the Bears' offensive line play so far this season. We'll go ahead and make this the pinned comment on today's video. A, B, C, D, or F. I don't want to be too harsh, but I got to be honest, D-. Maybe it's been a tick better than last year, but I'm not convinced it has. You could even talk me into an F. This group has stunk, especially since James Daniels got hurt. Maybe because of the injuries, I'll go D-, but I can't give much better than a D. But get your grades in. So Jason Spriggs, it's your time to shine, buddy. It's your next man up mentality. That's what we talk about all the time in the NFL. Injuries are a part of this violent sport, and he's set to start at right tackle in Massie's absence, barring a change, but I expect him to get in there. Was not great in pass protection, allowed 2 sacks in relief against New Orleans in about 3.5 quarters or however long that was. Basically a full game because they went to overtime. Pretty effective as a run blocker, though, I thought. I thought maybe he was even better as a run blocker than Massie was. Obviously a limited sample size, just the 1 game there for Spriggs, but he really did struggle in pass protection, had trouble getting out wide when the Saints would put some speed rushers on him. So hopefully he can give a little bit, be a little bit more effective there. He'll get the first team reps this week, and hopefully that will be a boost to Jason Spriggs' game, because he had trouble pass protecting for Nick Foles. Should Ryan Pace trade for an offensive lineman? We're just hours away. We've got a few hours to go here from the NFL trade deadline. We're putting this video out just a few hours ahead of time. So T for trade, P for pass. If you're watching after the trade deadline, then you'll find out if Pace did it or not. But type T for trade, type P for pass. I'm typing my T. I think Ryan Pace needs to make a move before 4 o'clock Eastern time. If the Bears make a trade, I promise you this, we'll break it down here on the channel. So subscribe and turn on notifications. Turn notifications on, you're never going to miss a video here on Chicago Bears Now. So hit that sub button, and after you do, turn on that notification bell. That way you don't miss any of our coverage like this injury news here on Chicago Bears Now. Now, these are some guys I briefly mentioned a couple of videos ago, some offensive line targets that Chicago could go after. Obviously, Joe Thuney, Brandon Scherf, a couple of franchise tag candidates. They're a little more expensive, but I think they could be worth it. Andrew Norwell is a guy we've talked about a few times. Jags are obviously in tank mode. Riley Reif, if you want to get a tackle, which could be an upgrade now that Bobby Massie is hurt. And then Alex Mack, the center. Whitehair should return soon, but even if he does, you can put Mack at center, slide Whitehair to left guard since James Daniels is out and Rashad Coward sucks. And these are 5 guys that you could put at offensive line and would help your offensive line. So you look at it again, like I said, those are some guys who could give you an upgrade. This is not a good group. This is not a good group, and now that you've got some injuries piling up as well, it's just a bad situation. And, you know, I know you guys love to blame the quarterbacks. You guys love to blame Nick Foles. You blame Trubisky when he was in there. You blame Matt Nagy. In the NFL, if you can't protect, if you can't block, it's hard to get going offensively, and that is the truth with the Bears. Now, at the same time, the quarterbacks and the head coach have had issues at times, as Nagy's play calling, especially in situational times, hasn't been great, and Foles hasn't been great. This group up front has been absolutely horrible. Something that is not horrible is making money with Bet Rivers, and you guys can do that at chatsports.com/betil or chatsports.com/betin. What is IL and IN? Well, you can deposit and sign up from anywhere and get that 100% deposit match, but to place a bet, you must be either in the state of Illinois. Chatsports.com/betil is where you want to go for that one. If you're in the state of Indiana, you can place a bet at chatsports.com/betin. Bet Rivers is going to hook you up with a 100% deposit match up to $250. You can sign up and deposit from anywhere in the United States, but to place a bet, you must be in the state of Illinois or Indiana. Again, chatsports.com/betil or chatsports.com/betin. Early look at this week's matchup. The over-under is set for 46.5. Tennessee is a 5.5-point favorite. I think I like the under in this game. The over barely hit last week, and that was with overtime. So I think I like the under against Tennessee. Both these teams desperate for a win after losing 2 straight times. Hopefully the Bears can play some good defense and grind one out on the road. But if you want to make some money, place a bet on all NFL games, Bet Rivers is the place for you. A little bit of an update on Cody Whitehair as well as we continue with the injury update to the offensive line, the news today. He's dealing with that calf injury, as you guys know. The Bears are hopeful that he can return soon. I don't think he'll miss another month like Bobby Massie is set to. I would say he's probably unlikely to play against Tennessee. I would expect Sam Mustipher to get those center duties yet again this week, and I think he's been serviceable. He hadn't been a total disaster, so we'll see if and when Whitehair returns, hopefully this week, but probably more like next week. And obviously, this all started with James Daniels going down, the best offensive lineman, in my opinion, on this team. The O-line played pretty well the first few weeks, at least was passable. Obviously, the competition wasn't as good. But once he went down, this group started to get exposed. I think it would have gotten exposed a little bit anyway because the level of competition increasing with games like the Bucs and the Saints and, now the Titans and so on and so forth, the Colts. But still, losing James Daniels set the tone. Then Whitehair went down. Now Massey's down. This group has a lot of problems up front, both injury-wise and just flat out the way it plays. So who you got in this weekend's matchup? CHI for the Bears, TEN for the Titans. Type your votes down below. We'll have my official preview up on the channel probably on Wednesday, so go check out my official pick there. Another reason to subscribe and turn on notifications. But get your votes in, who you got on Sunday. Just to circle back to the start of the video, Bobby Massie out for probably a month. Maybe only misses 2 games because the Bears got a bye week after the next 2 games, but not good news for this offensive line that has struggled mightily. I'm Harrison Graham signing off. You can follow me on Twitter at HGrahamNFL.